I believe you won't be at this week's dinner. Of course, you have a large company that you're the CEO of as well, so I don't know how much Trump coin you might hold or might be held by people affiliated with you, but I am curious about your general reaction here to the Trump administration, Mike, because as much as a lot of investors have been excited about the Trump administration's support of crypto, there has been a lot of concern that the Trump family's gains from crypto might come at the expense of others, or at least might pose a conflict of interest. How do you feel?
Well, first off, thanks for having me. And I do want to clarify that, I mean, in general, I think politics and business don't mix. I'm in favor of all politicians that are supporting digital assets and crypto. In terms of how people should look at this, I think we've got a president who is actually exploring how do we use digital assets to make America better. And I think this is a fantastic place to be. Rather than stifling it, cutting it down, penalizing companies that even try, this is a president that's thinking like, can Bitcoin be used in our reserves in a way that's going to benefit America? Hey, can we use stablecoins in a way that exports dollars around the planet that's going to benefit America? Hey, can we use meme coins and other things to raise money or do whatnot? In my mind, this is all good activity. It helps explore innovation, how these assets can be used better. I haven't heard anyone object to there's something wrong going on here. So anyway, I think it's all good news that we have leaders that are thinking about how to make America better.
Mike, there's been a lot of critics of the way the president has gone about this, especially with regard to the meme coin, especially with regard to the dinner happening on Thursday, from a whole host of different areas. One from a national security perspective and the people who are holders of this and their identities, which are not fully known, but also from the perspective of a meme coin, which many would argue doesn't necessarily have any inherent value. What about those criticisms that some have leveled?
Look, there's a lot of political attacks that happen. That's not because of crypto or new to crypto. This has been happening for forever, right? So in terms of the actual technology being used, I think there's some good news here. So prediction markets, where you put your money down to place a wager or prediction about what the future is going to look like, is one of the best types of markets we've had. We saw certainly during the election, the most accurate predictor was not the news, but it was the prediction markets. And when you think about what's going on with this meme coin, it's really another form of a prediction market, right? Where let's say, who's going to put their money down because they're really interested in this particular event, whatever it may be, whether it's a dinner or whatnot. I don't see anything that's been cited that's just plain up illegal about it. In fact, I think we're using technology to better predict where we should be investing and things like that. So I don't know, I think it's all good.
I want to talk more about security here because as a massive custodian in the space, you did see a large rival, Mike, very much face an issue here where client data was compromised. How do you answer to that type of concern in the industry? If it happened to Coinbase, could it happen to anybody? Could it happen to you?
It's unfortunate, and Coinbase is a competitor, but I think they are a stand-up company. They're working hard to do everything the right way. They abide by all of the regulatory rules and regulations. But this is, again, not something that's new to crypto. I mean, the largest security breaches, data breaches have happened in traditional finance. It's really something that goes hand in hand with collection of information. You all remember Equifax, which dribbled more than half of all Americans' information all over the table onto the dark web. That happened years ago. Equifax is still around. Now, what's the problem? The problem is when it comes to financial transactions, the government has rules about knowing who's participating in those transactions, and industry, businesses are required to keep all of that data. And it's unfortunate, but yes, across all financial services, and this is not unique to crypto, there have been some fumbles. So unfortunately, it's probably going to happen again, which is the tragic part. On the good news side, look, no money is lost. It's mostly around information. I think, frankly, Americans are mostly accustomed to the idea that your name, your address, your social security number is already on the dark web due to traditional finance having dropped those out, leaked them. But yeah, we need to continue working on it. We need to do better.
I want to ask you this because about a week ago, I did ask your competitor, Brian Armstrong, whether he would be a custodian or the custodian for the United States in the effort to form a strategic Bitcoin reserve. He said he would certainly be looking to put his hat in the ring for that for Coinbase. Now I ask you, what are the chances that you're the custodian, and how competitive is that business?
I suspect we will be a part of it. it's good business. Look, we want to do that. I think there's more interesting things to do than just purely hold the Bitcoin. But this is bread and butter for us. We hold it in deep cold storage. We've been doing this for over a decade now, and this is what we're best at. I do think that when it comes to custody of the world of the national reserves, it should be more at a custodian, someone that's holding the assets in deep cold storage rather than an exchange that's interested in trading it. But I'm talking my own book there, so there you go.
All right, always appreciate the transparency there. BitGo CEO Mike Belshe joining us from Northern California. Always good to see you, Mike. Thanks for joining us.